Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're looking at a yoga technique with a pretty dramatic name, Kapalabhati, or the shining skull breath. I mean, what could possibly make your skull shine? As we're about to find out, that name is actually the key to understanding its real purpose, its surprising history, and its remarkable power. Okay, so let's dive right in. Because right from the start, Kapalabhati has a bit of an identity crisis. If you've been to a modern yoga class, you've probably learned it as a breathing exercise, right? But its origins, they tell a completely different story. So what is it really? And this gets to the very heart of the issue. You see, a lot of schools today teach it as a pranayama. That's a practice for controlling your vital energy through your breath, kind of like you're fine-tuning your car's engine. But the classic yoga texts, they put it in a whole different category, the Kriyas. These are powerful purification rituals. So this is less like tuning the engine and way more like giving it a full system flush. And believe me, that distinction changes everything. So let's be super clear here. This is not just some gentle breathing. It's a powerful physical action. Think of it as a cleansing technique that just happens to use the breath as its main tool. That forceful exhale and the sharp snapback of your abs, they're designed to physically clear out your respiratory system. And at the same time, they send a jolt to your nervous system, kicking you into a state of heightened alertness. And that name, Shining Skull, it isn't just some poetic flair. It's a mission statement. The tradition says that doing this practice literally clarifies and polishes the entire head region, leading to that very distinct feeling of brightness, alertness, and yet mental focus. To really get to the bottom of this, we can't just rely on what's taught today. We've got to go back to the source, to the original manuals. So let's, unroll the ancient scrolls and see how this was all described hundreds of years ago. Now, this is where it gets really, really interesting. You'd think there would be one clear, unified story, right? Nope. The two most important texts, the Hatha Yoga Pradipika and the Garanda Samhita, they both agree it's a purifier, but they totally disagree on the details. One describes a single method, while the other gives you 3 different ones, some that even use water. And then you have other major texts from the same period that don't even list it. It just goes to show you, Hatha Yoga wasn't some rigid monolithic system. It was alive, and different teachers had different methods. And this disagreement between the texts, it's not just some academic thing for historians to argue about. It leads to radically different ways of actually doing the practice. Depending on which ancient manual you pick up, what you do for Kapalabhati could be something completely different. So the version most of us know today, that comes from the Hatha Yoga Pradipika. It's one single powerful technique. And the instruction is just beautifully simple. Make your breath like a blacksmith's bellows. It's all about these rapid, sharp, forceful breaths designed to stoke an inner fire and burn away impurities. But then you turn the page to the Garanda Samhita, and things get, a lot more intense. It describes 3 types, and 2 of them are wet methods that use water to literally flush out your nasal passages. In one, you actually draw water in through your nose and spit it out your mouth. In the other, you do the reverse. This is a whole world away from the dry bellows breath we know, and it really hammers home that this was first and foremost a cleansing action. Okay, so you hear about these rich, varied, and pretty intense purification practices, and it just begs the question, what do these techniques actually do? The ancient texts make some really bold claims, but what happens when we take this ancient technique out of the scroll and put it under the lens of modern science? And I mean, when I say bold claims, I mean bold. The Garanda Samhita doesn't just promise you'll feel a little better. It claims that with mastery, you can achieve freedom from aging and fever. This is the kind of heroic, almost mythic language you see all through these classical texts. Obviously, we can't exactly design a clinical trial to test for freedom from aging. But what we can do, and what researchers are doing, is hook people up to modern sensors and measure with incredible precision what's actually happening in their bodies and brains when they do this. And the findings are absolutely fascinating. Studies are showing measurable short-term shifts in things like lung capacity, your working memory, and the balance of your nervous system. Scientists can even see real-time changes in the oxygen levels and electrical activity in your brain. It's almost like we're seeing the modern, measurable proof behind that old poetic idea of having a clearer or even a shining head. Now, here's the thing. Any practice that has the power to create such significant changes also, and this is important, has the power to do harm if it's misused. So we absolutely have to talk about safety, precautions, and the potential risks. This is maybe the most crucial takeaway of all.
Its effectiveness is directly tied to its potential for adverse effects. The very thing that makes it work, that forceful, rapid change in pressure and your body's chemistry, is also what makes it risky if you do it improperly or if it's just not the right practice for you. And these risks, they aren't just theoretical. While it is extremely rare, there are documented medical cases of serious injury. This report from the medical journal Chest, for example, describes a case of a collapsed lung that happened in connection with extreme practice of Kapalabhati. It's a really stark reminder that this isn't just a simple relaxation technique, it's a powerful physiological intervention. Now, much more common are the side effects from pushing too hard. Things like getting dizzy, feeling tingling in your hands and face, getting a headache, or even feeling agitated or anxious. These aren't just little annoyances. They are clear signals from your body telling you that you're pushing its systems too far, too fast. It's your body's check engine light. So, given its power, its complex history, and its real risks, how do we approach this ancient technique in a modern, safe, and informed way? How do we get all those amazing benefits without running into the dangers?
Well, a really mature, modern stance synthesizes the best of both worlds. First, know its roots. Seriously, understanding it's a powerful cleansing Kriya, not just a breathing exercise, changes your whole approach. Second, train smart. Start with just a few rounds and build up gradually over time. Third, screen yourself. This is not for everyone, especially if you have certain heart, lung, or blood pressure issues. And finally, stay humble. Know the difference between what modern science has actually proven and what belongs to the more poetic, heroic tradition of the ancient texts.
So in the end, you just can't put Kapalabhati into one simple box. It's an ancient purifier, it's a modern biohack, it's a potential risk, and it's a fascinating window into how ancient wisdom meets modern science. It reminds us that sometimes the most powerful tools aren't the new ones we invent, but the old ones we rediscover, which challenges us to practice not just with enthusiasm, but with a whole lot of wisdom too.